Alrighty, guys. Good morning. Welcome to this Tuesday, April 15th. It is tax day. If you haven't done your taxes, today is it. Today is your tax day. So overnight, it looks like the volume is definitely the overnight volume is definitely in reasonable ranges. I just rebuilt it. I kind of lost my count here, unfortunately. Let's see if I have it on the NASDAQ. No, I do. But, yeah, I restarted the platform, so I got a couple of counts reset. But the volume is down in the 200-300 range, and it's definitely a lot less than it used to be in the last few weeks back. So definitely volume coming down into reasonable levels, or volatility is coming down a bit, and that makes it tradable again. So I think we have a couple of potential tradable days ahead of us. Anything can happen, though. We could get a headline coming out of nowhere, and everything starts changing again or start going off the rails again. But so far, it looks like the volatility is coming down a bit. The news this morning is non-existent, or yes, a little bit. At 8:30, we get Empire State Manufacturing and import-export prices. That's about it. So not going to do much on the market. Fed speakers late in this. Well, at 11 o'clock, we have a Fed speaker. That's about it. Tomorrow, though, we get a fair amount of news. And of course, Thursday, we have a little bit jobless claims. And then Friday is Good Friday, and pretty much everything is closed then. So Easter week. And we are, if you look at capital flow, holding in a range. I should see if I can get this. Let me see. It is. There, no, that's not the one. I am looking for. There it is. You see a little thing on the side of that over there? That's what I was looking for. That's a pretty good or resistance area on the way back up here. That's the 5730 level. Yeah, quite a bit away from it yet. We still have to clear this hurdle at the between the 5500 and the 5550s, 60s. So this whole area congestion used to be support on the way down. It's been resistance that have been stubbornly holding this on the way up. So not much happening not much happens unless we can take that out on the upside. And yesterday's trading was an interesting day. We started off pretty good, strong day, and it looked like we were trying to trade up. We got some weakness in the afternoon. And then we were closing way up here towards the upper end of the range. And I thought we had a shot at staying on the long side of this. But look at this right there in the going into that close. Right there going into that close, we had this happen last half hour of the day. And they took it a little bit lower and all the way freaking down to the 5400 in the last. This was actually after the 1 o'clock stock market close. So that was pretty crazy stuff going on. It could have been some earnings coming out or something, but that was a pretty good reaction to the downside in the aftermarket. And since then, we kind of been crawling this back up again, slowly getting back up into this range again. So I'm going to start off range bound, watching this ledge, pretty good ledge here at the 5405s. It starts trading below that one, I'm going to stay on the short side. If it starts trading above the 5485 and the 5500s, I would start leaning in on the long side and see if we can get a go here trading up a little bit. So that's kind of where we are on the ES. So starting off range bound, looking to see if we can basically fading the edges, looking to get short against the 5465s, the 75s, 85s up to the 95s here for 95s up to the 5500s for rotations back down again, and looking to buy against weakness 5435, 5415, and 5405 for rotations back up again. That's kind of why I'm looking at it. And if they take out that ledge here at the 5405, I'm going to stay on the short side and look for just the flat out rotation to the downside at that point. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at this. And back in this lower range, if we get down there, we have the next ledge down to test is 5300. That's where we find support next. So that's a pretty good move to the downside. So that's a good 100 points. We can head lower unless they can really start getting a little bit of action going here. Hang on a sec, guy, 1 second. Back with you. Sorry about that. A little blind dog walking around. Guide him out from a corner. So starting off range bound, looking to buy weakness, sell strength. Watching that lower edge at the 5405. If that comes out, at 5405 comes out, that's this little area congestion, the volume area, volume edge right there. We can certainly head all the way back down to the 5300s pretty quick. So it's not much in between here. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but nowadays anything is possible. You just need a headline. I happen to think that I think that most of the crazy headlines are probably on behind us. I think this tariff pause is probably going to stay off. It's off for 90 days, but as the deals start coming back in again, it's going to be much less disruptive if some countries ends up getting their tariffs put back on again. So it's going to be a lot less disruptive going forward, no matter what you do. The biggest unknown here is what's happening with China and that little debacle or that little trade war. And that is flat out trade war right now with the Chinese. They're going back and forth. They have halted Boeing orders right now, and they're going to go back and forth. And we'll see how that shakes out. But they've been so lumped. That trade has been so lopsided. It's probably time to do something there. So we'll see. Start seeing how embedded they are in everything you do when you start seeing how they're pushing back and what they're trying to do to stop the rare earth mineral exports for defense. So that's a big deal. Going back and forth, we will see how that whole thing shakes out. But the Chinese is a big wild card. That thing can go in all sorts of directions. For us, though, getting started today, range-bound trading, we're in Easter week. Things are going to be slowing down. I don't think we're going to see a lot of volatility this week. It's probably going to keep slowing down until we get closer to and get into next week. And then we'll see if anything happens over the weekend. So looking at sell strength, 54, 50s, 65s, 75s, 85s, up to the 95s, 5500s. We're going to buy weakness, 54.35s, 54.15s, 54.05s for rotations back up again. And watch that lower edge. That comes out, you could certainly head quite a bit lower. So that's the ES to get started. Looking at the NASDAQ and the bonds. So just looking at the bonds to get started. Holding in this area. Let me see, I can find my capital flow chart on the bonds. So holding in this little attractor area right now. So they have retraced back up again. And if I fold this together, yeah, we are back up here in this little attractor area, building value. So bond market repriced. First of all, it's that big flight to safety. Now we are right back down again, building value around the 114. So far so good. I think they stabilized for a bit, and we'll take that any day. So I would just do range bound trading on the bonds right now at this level around here. So it's looking to get short against 1410s, 1416s, 20s, up to the 1428, 29s. Looking to buy weakness, 1326, 1320 down to the 1312s for rotations back up again. If they trade below that 113.20, I wouldn't start thinking about the short side, but 113.12 would be the last one I'm going to be looking to buy against. So, but on the way down, I'm going to be a lot more aggressive if they start taking this lower, because it's that could. I think that's the way it's going to go if people start dumping bonds, and I think that's the biggest fear right now, that there's big nations like China. Part of their strategy could be to dump a bunch of bonds on us. And that would drive bond prices down, and yields spike, and it's going to be a little bit of turbulence caused by that. So NASDAQ, pretty good move as well to the downside in the overnight. They ran it all the way down here to the 18.8s, and they were trading up here in 1900. So a good 200-point run down here right at the last half hour before the market closed. It's kind of weird. Probably news related or earnings related, because we are getting into earnings season right now. So yes, stuff is going to be happening on earnings announcements. We are pretty close to this congestion area. So far, we probed it yesterday, could not take it out. We are stuck in this range right now. Watch that lower edge. 18,350. If that comes out, we're in trouble. Right now, the closest one is going to be the 1800s here, that ledge here at the 775 and the 800s. So 18,775 to 18,800s. If these two edges comes out, I think we are heading all the way down to that 350 potentially. So that could be a pretty good move to the downside if that happens. So watching that, but I'm going to be looking to buy against the 860s, 800s, 775 down to the 730s for rotations back up. They're going to get short against resistance at this point against 960s, 19,030s, 19,080s up to the 19,140s. And this ledge here, the 19,070s. Above this one, I'm probably going to start thinking about the long side a little bit more aggressively. Then they're heading back up again. But unless they clear this hurdle up here at the 360s, 19,360s, we're probably going to be that's going to be a pretty good area of resistance, by the way. So between 19,150 and the 19,350, nice 200-point range there. That's going to be pretty good resistance on the way up. So they're looking for short setups all the way up here. But for the day session, if they start taking out that 19,080s, again, I may think about the long side and see how far they can squeeze this to the upside. Still looking for short setups against those upper areas until they clear that upper 19,350 level. So there could be some nice long go with type of trades on the way up here, but until they can clear that 250 and then we have the 350 above this. But if they start taking out that 19,080s, I'm going to start thinking about the long side to see if they can take this a little bit higher. Still looking for shorts against the 140s, the 180s, the 260s, up to that 350 level. This upper 350 level, 350 to 370 level. So, but there's a pretty good range here. This is like almost 300 points on the Nasdaq. So there's definitely long trades in between here on the way up. So that's what I'm thinking, that if they start clearing some of those earlier hurdles, the session highs, and maybe one level above that, start thinking about the long side of the market and see how far they can move this to the upside. All right, so that's the Nasdaq. Hang on a sec. Anyway, okay, so, and then finally, looking at oil and gold. Oil and gold. Gold is pretty much holding in the range here around the 320 to 350s. Being pretty consistent. I mean, they moves pretty hard to the upside, have a hard reversal, shakeout move, and then pretty much back up again. And you can see here, they run it down here to this low volume area now at the 3200s, and then back up here trading in this 32, 40, 50 area. So I would look for range bound trading around here right now. I would actually be tempted to look for potential short setup at one point here, but I'm going to wait for them to start taking out some support here on the way down. And I'm looking for a retracement trade past this low volume area, maybe reverse retesting that 31.75 level. So it's been extending pretty good on gold. So if we get some good news and some little bit less craziness going on, I think they could certainly head back down again. The only thing, again, probably is China holding on, China causing, or that concern, or that situation, probably causing people to hold on to gold for a bit. But we'll see. At this point, so starting looking for short setups against 32.48s, the 55s up to the 60s. Looking to buy against support 32.30s, I'm sorry, 32.32s, 32.25s, and down to the 20s. Now, if this starts trading below the 20s, last level to buy against is going to be down here at the 32.10s. But there could be a nice move to the downside. It could be an edge in here. Actually, it could be an edge there. Right there. I'm going to put that in there, right? So looking to buy against support at this point against the 32, 25s, 20s, 15s, down to the 10s for rotations back up again. So below 10, start leaning in on the short side. above the 32.55s, I would start leaning in on the long side with confirmation about 32.60s. So range band trading on gold, I would favor the long side at this point until we start seeing a little bit of failure. But it's starting to feel a bit overextended on gold, and it could set up for a nice little shakeout to the downside. And then oil, yes, kind of holding in around that 60-61 level. But think about oil, that they came down quite a bit, and they're all staying down. So there's no reason for it to rally right now, as far as I can tell. But nice move to the downside. And if this keeps going, you're going to see oil. This could be another move out of the middle to the downside, and we'll see lower prices on crude starts happening here. So looking to sell strength up to that 63.30 area. Looking to buy weakness down to the 58.70s. I would favor the short side still. So I would look for short setups at this point against 61.50s, 62, 62.30 up to the 62.70s for rotations back down. And the buying support with a bit of caution, 60.50, 20, 59.75 down to the 59.50s for rotations back up again. And basically trading this range back and forth. That's kind of the dynamic here. And let's see, we'll just watch out. If we get a headline, oil could certainly move pretty dramatically. But so far it's been reasonably orderly. It hasn't been totally crazy. So there may be opportunities to get on those. And I'm probably going to roll oil here shortly to, I had checked the rollover. Roll oil to the June expiration. I had to check that one. I'm getting close to 15, 16, or 17. So either today, tomorrow, or after the weekend, it's going to be rolling. So I'll check that. All right. Alrighty, guys. So back to the ES. So that's oil and gold. So range band oil, range band gold at this point. Favor the short side of gold. I favor the short side of oil. I favor the long side of gold. So said that wrong, but so there you go. And then basically back to the ES. All right, some weakness here, back here, then down here at the 54.15s right now. So, and we'll see what happens here. All right, so starting off range bound, and let's see if they can stay in this range, or if we're going to see some weakness or strength, whichever is going to happen first. We'll find out. Alrighty, guys, we'll leave it there and wrap it up, and I'll see you back at 11:30 for the next update. So good trading, and I'll see you back then.